Nuria, welcome.
Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here in this EuroSeeds Congress.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks, Nuria. I wanted to discuss a few things on in the field of intellectual property and plant breeders' rights with you, and specifically related to the EuroSeeds IP position. They have recently adopted a new EuroSeeds view on IP. And there it mentions, amongst other things, that the PBR system, the plant breeders' rights system, must be strengthened and improved. Where do you see room for improvement?
The Community Plant Breeders' Rights, Plant Variety Rights, was founded in 1994. That was 30 years. In fact, we are celebrating our 30th anniversary next year. So there has been a lot of experience, a lot of developments, and of course, agriculture has evolved, and breeders have evolved with it. And we have to gain advantage with this experience. And we are aware that there are some issues that may need improvement. For example, the issue of provisional protection. For that, we need, of course, to revise our basic regulations. That will maybe come in the next year or so. And hopefully we will have something that will protect better the breeders, particularly in the fruit sector, because we are aware that this may be an issue that is not yet solved. And from the enforcement point of view, of course, there are also pending issues in some countries. So we are already undertaking some training, particularly to the enforcement administrations, police officers, borders, judges. So to better understand what are their needs for understanding the PBR system, because there's more knowledge about the patent system, but PBR is always like the small brother, the unknown in this family. So we are trying our best efforts to provide more training so enforcement can be a reality for the breeders in Europe.
I wanted to make a small sidestep towards patents. I know this is not really your field, but maybe you can share your thoughts a little bit. We know that already for many years there has been this ongoing controversy over patenting of plant material. What is the CPVO's take on this?
Listen, if we talk about patents versus PBRs in relation to plant varieties, we have to think that in a universe of 200,000 patents, there are no more than 200 patents on plants which are enforced. However, there are 30,000 titles of PBRs in force. This means that we are still the main, right in terms of protection of plant breeders' rights, the one that everybody trusts. When they talks about plant breeders' rights, it talks about plant varieties. Of course, there are patents, and with the coming of the new genomic techniques, we know that these patents will come more often. They are already coming more often. And even if we have not received yet an application for a plant variety rights on a variety which has already an NGT, it's not yet a reality. We know that it will sooner or later will come. And they will have to coexist because both patents and plant breeders' rights have to strive towards innovation. They are both have been developed as a way of promoting innovation in the plant breeding rights, in the plant breeding world. So having said that, we have to also understand that the patent was always designed for methodologies, for traits. But in the case of the NGT type 1, for plants that cannot be distinguished from any other plant by an analytical method, it's going to be pretty difficult to enforce those rights on a plant patent. So on a claim on a plant. So maybe it would be far better if we leave the patent for the technology and the trait and we use the plant breeders' rights for the plant variety. Why? Mm-hmm. Because there has been also this concern that by having claims on plants that are NGT1, these plants are only protected as far as have not been developed by conventional means. But it's so difficult to prove it. With the plant breeders' rights, however, the variety will be protected because of its traits, regardless of the technology used to be developed. It will be protected if it is produced through an entity, and all the let's say the other conventional methodologies that could be used to develop the same variety will not be taken into account because the variety, the final product, will be protected. So they will also be protected against others trying to develop the same variety with other means, let's say, which is not possible with the patent. So I think in this discussion on patents on NGTs, I think there's a lot to be said and a lot to be thought about. That we have to reflect a little bit whether the patent is the best way of protecting the plant.
Nuria, if we pull this a little bit broader to, let's say, IP in general, we are seeing in many debates that IP, including plant breeders' rights, is under threat. Under threat, for example, from anti-IP NGOs who are regularly undermining the strength and the robustness of IP systems, of GBR systems. How do you think can we turn the tide of those anti-IP sentiments?
Yes, I have read some of those. If we look at the European system, even in Europe, that you could say that in Europe there are lots of multinationals, there is a concentration in the market. Well, look at the registry, and 90% of the applicants for plant breeders' rights are SMEs, small and medium enterprises, which are holding 60% of all the titles in force. This is already telling us that it's not only for big companies, it's for small and medium particularly because they are the most of the applicants that we have. This is something that we cannot ignore. That we also need to think that the breeders are working for the final clients, which are the farmers. What would be the interest of an overbreeder in going against a farmer, which at the end of the day is going to be the one who is going to buy his seed? It would be pointless, And let's not forget also that there is a provision, both in the UPOV Convention, but also in the basic regulation of the Community Plant Variety Office on the community system, on the European system, that says that the right does not apply to acts which are done privately and for non-commercial purposes. That means that is not meant for farmers which are in the, let's say, subsistence sector. Farmers that are eating what they produce, farmers that are not commercializing further their seed. So this may not be relevant or not so relevant for the European Union, but is very relevant for developing countries. So they have to consider that this is to promote the commercial sector of farmers, the commercial side, not the farmers that are living out of their production. So I think we should leave this sector around outside because in many cases they are used as an excuse to fight against a plant breeders' rights system, which at the end of the day is only trying to promote agriculture, to promote, let's say, the best varieties that we can have for better for the environment, with more productivity, more adapted to the soil, with all these new traits and new characteristics that are going to ensure that the farmer has sufficient income to have a decent life. So I think this is what it's all about.
Absolutely. Well said. Thank you so much, Nuria.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.